want to be. Because this is a state of realization just below the Advait philosophy. You're talking about a state of Advait, Vishisht Advait philosophy. Okay? There are three states of philosophy where you and God are different. You as a separate drop have not merged into the ocean. The drop is realizing the ocean and yet being immortal in its drophood as a droplet. This is called the Dvait philosophy, duality. Then there's the Vishishta Dvait, where you will imagine yourself to be connected to God and yet be separate from God. The identity of Dan will remain. And then there's the Advait philosophy, where the drop will totally merge into the ocean. Just a minute. Now let me tell you this, that a losing of the identity is a trick of the mind. The mind is the great deceiver, and it makes you say that when you lose your identity and your existence, there is nothing to cling on to, there's nothing to identify. So it is an identity crisis we are talking about here. I want to clear this identity crisis from your minds, that when you lose the I and the Dan, I of the Dan, the identity, you do not die. When the drop merges in the ocean, it does not disappear into the ocean, but maintaining that I-ness in you, your limited identity of being a physical body is expanded to the identity of being the universe. You partake of the consciousness of the ocean. When the drop merges in the ocean, people feel it loses its identity. This is a truth and the half-truth. The complete picture is this, that when you, the identity, the drop, merges into the ocean, it does not die into the ocean to lose its identity, but it expands to partake of a vaster consciousness with no ego, with no I-ness, with no individuality, but still the feeling of the awareness of your beingness in the whole of creation. This is the misnomer which I have cleared before and I am doing now, that you do not lose your identity, but partake of a vaster identity which you may variously call God, the non-being essentiality, the isness of the zero not zero. Please don't sneeze when I'm talking. You can leave the conference and go. This is not a sneezing competition. So this is the problem, and this has been solved, that you don't lose your identity, you partake of a vaster identity. Right? You do not lose your identity, but when the drop merges in the ocean, it does not lose its identity, it loses its falsehood, it loses its materiality, it loses all that's limited it from being God, but the awareness of its knowingness is still there in a more glorious and vaster thing. I'm in the birds and the bees and the stars and the trees. Yet I do not want to push others having it out. Anything that is selfish, anything that is decaying, anything that is segregating is destroyed, and everything that is expanding, everything that is oneness, the truth, the knowingness, and you will have your center everywhere and your circumference nowhere, because you will merge into the knowingness of the boundless isness of being. Look, one thing is, nobody is forcing you to the state. You can still be in a physical body, still enjoy your sex and wine and women and laughter, and be die at the end of your age span, be born again, and keep repeating the cycle of births and deaths. Nobody stops you. Go ahead. You're not born again and again with the same identity, but you're born, say, with a habit of drinking your wine every evening.
Yeah, with the traits of...
Your habit for chewing gum every time you go to the movies. Your habit, so those habits will remain with you, and you'll come, and the collective habits, that is going to form your identity. The sum total of your collective sanskars or your habits are going to form your identity. Is that clear? And that's what you'll be born again and again.
Now is that the soul?
You love your chocolate. That is your soul is in there, but it has the coating of your causal body, Karan Sharir. क्या कारण है आपका पुनर्जन्म का? Your unfulfilled desires, the causal desire. What is the cause of your being reborn? That is the body, the causal desire of your body. Your soul body mixed with your passions and intellect form your identity. Your passions and your intellect color the soul. The crystal soul is colored. And therefore, this crystal soul keeps reincarnating from the earth, the astral, the heavenly spheres. Then heavenly, astral, earthly sphere. Earth, astral, heavenly sphere. Heaven, astral, earthly sphere. And so you will go round and round and round the mulberry bush of your karmic desires. Right? So you can have that. Then a person wants to go higher. He wants to maintain samadhi and doesn't have these material desires. He has a higher desire. Oh Lord, let me have the love quality. I don't want it to dissolve. Let me come again and again to worship you with love and devotion. So again you will be born in the cycle of birth and death. You will become as a high soul, always singing God's praise, devoting yourself to God and this thing. Then there's a third soul. He will say, I desire total immersion. None of this crap. I want to be totally one with you, O Lord. Then you and me and you. Take out that book of Babaji, just read that poem. Tied by the self-same cord. Then me and you, there shall be none of me, O Babaji. So then there's the desire of this type of person who tolerates no lesser nonsense. He wants God alone. So these are the three philosophies. The drop is separate from the ocean. The drop becomes a sea and is connected to the ocean and yet maintains its seahood, and then the drop merges into the ocean and becomes a part of the ocean. The drop separate from the ocean is called the philosophy of Advait by Madhava Acharya. The second philosophy, where the sea or the great lakes are connected with the ocean, is called the philosophy of Vishishtadvait, which was advocated by Ramanuja Acharya. And the third philosophy, where the drop becomes the ocean, there's no difference between your isness and the essential isness of God, is called the philosophy of Advait, advocated by Adiguru Shankaracharya. Right? So, people are born, so you have a choice.